For my passion project, I wanted to do something really fun, so I decided to make a big skee-ball machine. I started the project by making drawings and plans for what it was going to look like in the end. I started making huge cardboard sheets that were 6.5 feet long. I didn't have cardboard that big, so I had to combine and cut a lot of pieces. They needed to be strong, so each wall was 4 sheets thick. My dad then helped me cut the big cardboard sheets I made with a neighbor's circular saw. I made 2 support pieces, which would hold the runway on top of it. I needed the ramp to be really strong, so I started cutting out a ton of cardboard squares. I split the cardboard squares into groups about 1 inch thick, and then I glued each stack together. I found a picture of a skee-ball ramp online, and then I traced it and cut it out of every single stack. Once they were all cut, I glued them all together and then put some support on the back of it, and then I let the entire thing dry overnight. It came out a bit bumpy, so I sanded it down with a Dremel. I created a runway with the flexible part, and then I glued the flexible part to the ramp. For the score, it was going to be counted by how many balls were in a specific lane, so I started cutting out strips that would eventually become walls of lanes. I added a lot of support on it, and then I glued it to the 2 side walls while they were propped up. I also glued the ramp on, and then I got an acrylic sheet which would go over the lanes, so I peeled the protective coat off that, and then put it right on top. I created a flap that moved up and down that would release the balls from the lanes. I started to create a panel that went on the very front of the skee-ball machine, and it had a little hole for the lever to go through. I started making a lever by first cutting a wooden dowel and then attaching it to a golf ball. And then this would control and release the balls from score lanes. I spray painted it gold originally, but I thought red would look cooler. I went back to the lever I had from earlier, and I drilled 2 new holes in it, and then I would put a spring through one of them. I put a barbecue skewer through the front panel, through the lever, and then back through the cardboard. This made it so the lever could rotate freely. The spring was attached to a wooden skewer at the top of a lane. Now, when you pulled the lever up, it would make the other side of the lever go down, and it would let the flap fall, letting the ball fall through the hole. I didn't want the balls rolling everywhere, so I made a little shelf that the balls would fall into, right below the flap. I started making sidewalls and supports that would hold the target holes. I cut 8 of the same piece and then glued 4 together on each side. I cut out 2 cardboard sheets and then traced circles onto it. I traced a picture onto another sheet and then cut it out of both. The pieces turned out like this once they were all glued. I created 4 rectangles that were all scored. I put the flexible rectangles inside the circles I cut. I then glued the target board to the sidewalls I made earlier. I got metal air duct. It was bendable. I cut it to size and then fit it around every single target hole. All the pipes led to a specific lane. In the end, it looked like this. Here's a playthrough. The pipe will lead it into the corresponding lane. You flick the lever and then you could grab it and play again. This project took a lot of planning and adapting. Originally, I designed a paper cutout that I printed out and then cut, and it folded up into the general shape of a skee-ball machine. It was a great idea on paper, haha pun, but it just didn't really work out when I tried cutting and tracing it onto the cardboard. This and other part of the projects taught me to plan according to the materials and tools I have, instead of just planning around what I wanted to do. I definitely got better at cutting and shaping cardboard, and I definitely got better at just planning projects in general. This was really fun.